It's the Golden Week Show! That's Yes.
And that's Sasha.
We're live on idobi Radio. Ooh, we've never done that before. Hello, synchronized. Wow, synchronized swimmers. Yes, we are live. We love being live on idobi Radio. It's our fucking favorite thing in the world. Truly, madly, deeply. So oh my God, we're going to be so nasty today. So the Cool Nerd Week Show is known for its honesty. And we today have decided that we're going to be a little bitchy. This is also, by the way, if you are a longtime listener of the show and you're not in the weed industry, this is pretty industry, the stuff that we're going to talk about. So it might get a little bit, like if you're, like I don't want you to get lost in the sauce. Stick with us. We have our normal Cool Nerd Weed Show content and fun factuals and opinions on those things the rest of the show. This right here is just going to be a little kiki of TS and I just going down a memory lane. If you worked with us at this dispensary, please come along on this journey. I don't know how I'm going to post this episode. We're going to talk some shit is what I'm saying also. So this is going to be a little niche and there's going to be like, we're just going to not hold back. And we're going to name some names, which is also, I don't know why.
Hey,
I'm like, in my old age, I'm very like paranoid.
Facts are facts.
We're not going to be, okay. So it's going to...
the opinions are our own, but facts are facts.
Yes, it's going to sound a little reminiscent of a hater, but we're not haters. We're really not.
No.
You know this about us.
It's true.
We're not. And if you're just listening because you heard that the show was shit talking, then you know we're not haters either. We're just honest people. And we lived through this time, which was very strange in the world of weed. It birthed this show, really. But we just have some things to talk about. So floating around on the weed Instagrams, the Weedstagrams.
Yeah.
Explain what we've seen floating around on the Weedstagrams.
I think it started off when we sent each other a post
at the same time,
Blacklist at the exact same moment that said it was regarding paying $1,000 an ounce for vegan cannabis.
Veganics.
Specifically veganics.
Yes. So this is
how the discussion began.
And veganic is basically
vegan growing.
It's vegan growing. It's just a way of cultivating. We saw a post on the Blacklist on Instagram, which was kind of just asking what the benefits are to growing vegan and veganic specificc
Yeah, there are some benefits to growing veganic.
I'm just laughing because I was trying to think of the name of the brand of the...
Veganics is a specific...
That is...
nutrient program.
A nutrient program, yeah.
That we're going to speak of later.
Yeah.
But growing vegan...
Yes.
Involves growing things that don't... no animal products or byproducts.
Right.
Including poop, which most poops, bat poo, fish...
Yeah.
They're great for the plants.
It's very good for weed.
And,
it's very good for weed.
They're also considered organic.
They're very organic.
Organic fertilizers.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
They're also, they are made from animal byproducts and animal products.
Sure, which...
Not vegan.
Is, right. And that's, we all hear the argument that animal waste is killing us in the environment slowly. So there is an argument to be made that all things should be either skewed towards vegan or maybe we should stop relying on poop. The problem is that poop makes things great.
It does. We did our outdoor organics. Oh my
God, it came out so good.
Yeah, and it was all like we used the bat poo.
We did. We used did we use fish stuff?
We did some fish poos.
Yeah. It was great. And we used that in our jasmine too on the roof too.
And they're blooming
and they're beautiful. Plants love poop. I don't know what to tell you. The thing, when you're talking about going vegan, you're usually talking about going out of your way. And sometimes that means when you eat too. If you go vegan when you're eating, it's it's easier now than it was, but like back in the day, like it's pretty difficult to go vegan. You really have to go to Whole Foods and spend all your money to find vegan products. Now it's better and we live in LA. But the point is that it's the same with weed. If you're going with weed, you have to find products far and wide that aren't as, readily available in your fucking local hardware store or, lumber store, and they're more expensive. But there's no like bad to growing this way. It's clean.
No, it's very clean.
But so is the other way. Whatever.
It's a clean way. We'll just go. We'll say that it's a very clean.
And I also
natural way to grow cannabis.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be annoyingly okay. So yes, it's a natural way to grow cannabis. That's the argument for vegan growing. We just want to be positive.
Yes. So back the discussion of, is a veganic ounce worth $1,000?
Okay.
And so we kind of dug into it because I didn't know where this actually came from.
No, it just popped up on the Blacklist post. I didn't even know that it had to do with the veganics being $1,000. I just thought somebody was asking
for a friend,
just to see what the quality of growing. And then it was weird to me that veganics had popped up because TS and I know veganics from a past experience. So that's why we were kind of digging into it simultaneously. So we found out, TS found out really that, that 2 Chainz show, what is it? Most Expensivest?
The Most Expensivest.
2 Chainz is a fucking delight in life. I have a lot of love for 2 Chainz. In and out of this show. I think he's wonderful in all ways. And he does this thing where he goes 2 places and he just balls out and, eats gold on steak and shit. And it's fun. And he has people who joins him. It's adorbs. And this time he did it with weed with Sarah Silverman. We're going to play a couple things from it, but I would love for you to go watch this because they're just really cute together. 2 Chainz and Sarah Silverman,
adorable.
I really hope they had sex because the chemistry was off the charts. And fucking the third person who was on there was the person who did, I guess we can say, truly pioneer this, he created this veganic cultivation program.
Kyle Kushman.
Kyle Kushman is the name.
Is an American writer, educator, activist, and award-winning cannabis cultivator, breeder specializing in veganic cultivation, according to his Wikipedia.
Yes.
And from what we know of him. Vegan nutrients.
And he created
the system of vegan growing, start to finish, with his products that I'm pretty sure he developed.
Right, that he sells. Just a reminder. He sells it to make money. So the thing that I sell, I would probably say is the best way to grow and the most expensivest, so I can make money off of what I made. That's just what I would do. I don't know that he's doing that. I don't know that that's what he's doing. I don't know that he's...
somehow you
But
have
I just
to
wanted to get it out there
justify.
that veganics is his brand.
Yes. The most expensivest.
The most expensivest. So we're going to play you the beginning of this show to kind of give Kyle a little intro, which is basically what we did.
The weed industry is growing rapidly, and no one knows growing weed better than former High Times writer Kyle Kushman. 2 Chainz and Sarah had to meet Kyle because he's come up with the newest and most expensivest cannabis yet.
You guys ready to smoke some veganic cannabis?
Kyle is here.
Okay, so I got triggered when I saw Kyle Kushman because, again, just to put this into context, TS and I have backstory that we're going to get to in 3 minutes. But Kyle's he's in the industry. You've seen him on High Times. If you've bought a High Times, he's a very
100%. You know who he is
on there. You know who he is. You know who he is. But it was funny to see him on Most Expesivest.
Here because he came up with his own word, y'all. We've never heard this word before. The word is veganic, right?
Veganic. You can be organic, and then you can be veganic.
And we're talking about weed.
We're talking about a method of cultivation. You're going to be buying veganic produce. before too long.
For the consumer, do I lose weight if I, smoke a veganic joint? Do I not have preservative? Is it all rainwater? What is it?
As the earth.
So this is where I'm on board, right? This is this description, just to be, fair.
Yeah.
I love this, what he's about to say.
100%.
Gets dirtier. The stuff coming out of the back ends of the animals isn't as clean as it used to be either.
There's visuals.
That's where all of the heavy metals accumulates. But when you put that into something that you're combusting and that you're inhaling, it's a lot different than something that you can wash off or that goes in through your stomach.
We don't poop it out.
250.
So Sarah Silverman is very silly. She says we don't poop it out. And then 2 Chainz gets annoyed. It's really cute.
All of those things are great.
We love it. So he goes on to say, they go on to smoke. You can listen to that. I don't want to play the whole thing, but it's funny. They don't really say anything super special about the way that it smelled, which we want to note.
Yeah, when they were actually smoking, Kyle Cushman hands them each their own pre-roll.
Right.
And they all smoke it. And they're smelling the flower.
I want to note that because we'll get back to that after.
The visuals on the flower, if you're going to be a camera, if you're going to be on camera, if you're going to be on fucking camera, you want to put your best buds forward, right? Right.
And you're talking about Most Expensivest.
The Most Expensivest.
I'm about to play you him
the most
saying
Expensivest.
How much it is. Yeah. It didn't look great.
I mean, it looked like organic flour.
It did.
Wood, more natural.
They didn't really say anything very great about how it smelled. So, and then they smoke it and they seem to get kind of high. And then, there's some high moments and Kyle smokes with them. And then at the end, they ask how much this is. There's
not one soundbite of somebody saying, "This is fire."
No, this again, taste, you go listen to that part.
Gas.
Listen to where they smoke because it's on. He does when he first smokes it. He's like, "Oh, this is very smooth."
Yeah,
he says
For
very
sure.
smooth. And Kyle says nobody's coughing. You can go see that part. They get night. They're high and silly, and that's great. And then they ask how much it is. This is important because the reaction is telling. We would like to note this.
How much would this joint be? How much would
How much a pound of Oreo going for? I need to get me a bag of Oreo.
Veganic cannabis, if you can find it, it's really rare because of the work that goes into it.
Is it? Is it really rare?
Is
it really rare? Are you the only person who makes the water sent from Jesus Christ himself from the river? Are you the only one who sells that to the old ladies at night?
If you can find it.
One fucking person does it. Okay. Sorry, I just had to note that.
damn near $1,000 an ounce.
What?
Yeah.
Man, hell no. Hell no. $1,000 for a zip? $1,000 for 28 grams? $1,000 for an ounce of reefer. Vegan. Son, that shit, sometimes when you make it that expensive, it make people want it,
So, just putting it out there. That's not a ringing endorsement. I think if you smoke fire weed, you're like, I said, if Burner came to me, no offense. I mean, I guess offense, whatever. If somebody some super dope or if somebody who now again we're about to go on a big hate tirade right now. But to me, if I was smoking weed that was fire, and somebody told me it was $1,000, an ounce, and it was so good, or if it was even slightly good, I'd be like, you know what, you gotta value your own brand, and this is fire weed. He was like, smoke them if you got them, you know what I mean? He was that's how I feel like 2 Chainz' reaction was, and Sarah Silverman was pretty quiet. And they kind of go on to joke about so Kyle says he didn't leave his house for years. I was gonna play it, but it really annoys me because people just went and he gave him money. I would like to know what these years were.
I need to know the timeline
I would like to know if you were back in New York doing this or something, or you were during or you were what were the options?
I don't know. He's not really claiming to be like a cultivator. It's always like writer. And,
yeah, it's not like.
And like,
but he sure does have a lot of opinions on cultivating.
He does. And
he sure does market himself as one, because we'll tell you why we think this. We personally, TS and I.
Yes.
Personally together.
Right there.
This guy.
Right over here.
And this gal worked with Kyle Kushman.
We did. It's true.
Now, this was such a weird time in weed. You know what I mean? It was such a weird time.
It was
for California weed.
Like just before
things were going legal. We were trying to figure out basically how to stay alive, and big weed was a coming, and there was a lot of like collaborations, a lot of brands, like there was MedMen. There was a lot of things that was happening in weed that were...
There were like brands that were sort of known brands or baby brands that were trying to get to grow to that next level just before legalization was about to happen.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to happen. So they're like, we got
to get in there.
Everybody's got to get in there and make it happen.
So our dispensary was just like... whatever, doing what they had to do, and did a big collab with Veganics and Kyle Kushman.
Yes.
There's a big write-up about it in the High Times. I don't know if it was High Times or like another weed publication, that there was like a big write-up about it. Like he was like, yeah, I got like my own, dispensary where I'm like, it's going to be the house weed or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
and like, I was like, oh, he's talking about us. So he came onto the scene, and we were, and I preface this by saying it was a weird time in cannabis, because it was. We were all like raw nerves. We didn't know what was around the corner, and it was really nerve-wracking, because it wasn't like when we knew what to expect when it was Prop D, even though there was stuff working against us. We were very confused. We didn't know, but all we did know was good weed, because we had been already housing some good weed, and we had been around really good weed for a really, really long time in our own backyard. So we had access to very, very good cultivators. Far and wide, we only knew the best at our dispensary. That's just a fucking fact. Like, I'm sorry.
Up and down the coast.
I'll say this till the day I die. The weed was a really great dispensary. And
1,000%.
legendary. And like, so I say that because we certainly had the cool kids on the block attitude. And when you walk into that and you're coming, from a neighboring dispensary, and now you've got a very big deal, because he did work in a he was the house suite of a dispensary that was not far from us.
I just thought about that. It was very close.
Yeah, it was very close. People would come when like that was like closed or whatever. People would people bounce back and forth.
For sure.
So he, he was there. So like he kind of came into the sitch, I think personally, a little like, I want to say aggressive almost. Like he was like, I don't know. Every time he came in with us, I didn't deal with him in like a managerial. The only time I dealt with him in a higher level was when I was the assistant to the manager, and like I didn't even have to deal with anything. So I don't know how he was behind the scenes. Maybe he's a dream, but in our capacity, he was a little. He was a little bit talking down to us.
Yeah,
just us.
It was.
He wound up hiring a bunch of us too.
It's true.
He wound up and it was like outward poaching. Like he was just like, I'll sell you the dream. And then like a bunch of people quit, and they went and they worked for what wound up being not the most prolific endeavor.
No, here's what
you explain what happened. I'm just trying to give the setting.
Okay, yeah. No, you painted the perfect.
You put the
picture.
details in. You put those little micro details in.
Okay, so we met Kyle Kushman. Well, we were ordered to go to a meeting.
Yes, because things were changing,
and the Veganics line was coming in.
It's right before the holidays,
and we went to sort of a sister store. And we sat through his sales pitch.
Basically, he said He talked how he talked in this Most Expensivest episode.
It was, Tommy Chong said that this is the best weed he's ever smoked in his whole life. And you're like, okay, cool. How are we supposed to sell this?
Well, that was the thing. And I think, didn't you ask that? Didn't you ask a question? I feel like you did. Maybe I dreamt that. Maybe I Mandela affected that. But I swear you you were like, so what's maybe you asked that at a staff meeting at our dispensary, because
I would always ask intelligent questions at the staff meetings just to get an answer out of somebody.
I swear, I feel like you asked him that.
Also, so it would disseminate the information around to everybody else.
Who they're gonna ask you anyway.
Yeah.
So, I think his thing was, it's all natural, blah 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 blah. Go forward, and it was a presentation. It was definitely a presentation, that meeting, and it was kind of a lot, but whatever. I wasn't I remember not we didn't know each other well enough to really talk shit afterwards. If we did, we would have, but I think we were just, I just want to get the fuck out of there, and not think about it. And then it became time to sell the weed.
Oh yeah. Now, here comes the Veganics product that we are. We've got the whole operation riding on this.
Now this is our entry into the legal market, kind of. This is our.
This is the way of the future.
This is how
presented
we keep
to
going.
Us.
It was. It really was. It was, and it was told to us you need to sell this product. They wound up incentivizing it. It was a push for this. And we had never really seen that before, because the weed we had sold itself a lot, and
all the time.
and our recommendations were because we knew good weed, we only had good weed.
We'd get staff samples. We knew what we were doing. We were smoking all the time.
So we get this weed and we all smoke it and smell
We
it.
do.
We get bags of it.
Oh, yeah.
Open the bags.
It smells like a fucking swamp.
Really does.
A
Did the grow.
A dirty shoe.
So the grow was in, a storage. What did we call it? It was storage.
It's they're actually in shipping containers.
Shipping containers, yeah. You've seen them. They're downtown. They did a big push of these as well during the legal.
Oh yeah, they
market.
They were selling them as turnkey.
Yeah,
like a turnkey
and this
system.
Was that. And we all. I remember literally when we smoked this weed. I think there was something he was trying to pass off as an OG, and I specifically remember somebody we worked with being it wasn't good. And then somebody was like, "Well, why do you think it's not good?" And she was like, "Well, because it's really hard to grow good weed." And it is, that's
it's
the thing.
True. It's true.
We're not trying to be haters for the sake of hating. It's not easy to grow weed. But don't fucking come into our house talking about this is how I'm going to change your whole entire lives and my way is better and your way is killing you slowly with the fucking metals. It's misinforming us. Oh, I wonder why. Is it to sell this fucking shit you came up with?
So
at $1,000,
yeah.
So it comes off as really inauthentic to us.
Absolutely.
And we really were very close to that, and it,
so what?
Maddened us.
One of the people, the people that was coming in, one of the Chads that came through. We'll just call him G.
Okay.
G asked me, "What do you think of the weed?"
Oh yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
I was like, "Did you smell it?" He's like, "Yeah, bro." I'm like, "What do you smell? Fucking swamp and dirty shoe?" I'm like, "It tastes just like that."
It did.
It tastes
and that
just
was
like
the thing.
that smell that comes through on the old fucking taste buds.
It sure does on the old taste budzola. Because and that's the thing, because sometimes you smell New York weed and it smells like a basement and you're like,
true.
I'm not gonna taste. And then it goes in and it's pretty nice and it's mad dank and you're like, that was deceiving. That's what I was hoping for with this. I was like, maybe it won't come through the other side and it's just how they're growing. But signed, sealed, delivered, it cured and dried, it tasted like butts, and it was kind of the beginning of when weed just started tasting like butts more and more. And it was weird because like we were in a good era of weed. So this was jarring. This was jarring to the system.
Absolutely. It was also at a time where, yeah, they were sort of, we couldn't do certain growing methods anymore. And veganics was possibly a way of the future.
That's what we were told. That's what we were sold. And the reason why, and underneath the comments of the Blacklist Instagram, I was a little ashamed because there are some people, it's like, who did he pay to say these things? But like, there are some people who genuinely are like, okay, whatever. Like, if you don't want to spend that much, like, you don't have to. Plenty of weed out there. Like, you don't have to hate about it. But since we just felt the way, like, we encountered veganics our first time, it just wasn't. And is it actually being sold in dispensaries?
People have asked for it. I haven't seen it for a long time, so I don't know where.
I haven't gone looking for it, but like,
I don't know where it is. I would look. I'd look up on the weed maps.
Yeah, if you want to find it.
I don't know.
I know we're giving it a ringing endorsement. Like, that's just our little kiki about veganics.
We tried every single strain.
We did. We had to because we had to sell it.
And we gave it a fair shake too.
We did, and it wasn't good. And after a while, lo and behold, the collaboration ended.
All good things come to an end.
I don't know why the collaboration ended. Also, I have to assume because it wasn't good weed. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's not flying out at the pace that everybody had anticipated. That people weren't banging down the door for veganic flour. Every now and again, somebody wants something vegan, even edibles.
Well, more so edibles because you're eating them. But, listen, like, I'm not, like you said, you're combusting this stuff, into your body. I think it's debatable, how, like, now that weed's, like, kind of cleaner than ever, I would argue. Like, maybe, I think, like, back in the day. But back in the day, like, if you're going to, I don't know, charging somebody $1,000 now, that just doesn't seem realistic to me.
It doesn't seem right.
In our world,
where do you live?
You see
where do you live?
Like, okay, right, like.
I mean, if you have a celebrity clientele, they're probably mad at you right now. Look at those fucking buds. If you watch that video on YouTube,
bright green fucking.
It was like
skinny,
very organic looking, scraggly looking buds.
Yeah, if that was like the best they had to show us, it was just a bummer experience. And clearly, I don't know, the way fucking 2 Chainz is like reacting there, kind of tells me that what they experienced didn't feel like $1,000. He says he spends way more with his
producing
product
it
that he produces
and
you
also
would buy for money.
Yes, and also sells the nutrients for.
Exactly.
Sidebar.
Sells the nutrients for a lot of money, which again, I said that was my business plan. Was to sell things that I made for a lot of money and make the money. That's what I would do. So
it's a great plan. It's a great plan.
It does seem like that's what he's doing.
So truly that the nutrients are the most expensivest.
Right. That he just so happens to have for you. Oh, you're looking for what I'm talking about? I'll sell you the dream. He has a very, looking for a non-offensive word, used car salesman aspect about him. That's very, you need the thing that I'm talking about so badly? Here, I just so happen to have it. Look, it's only here because it's so rare.
A monorail? That's more of a Shelbyville idea. Veganics? That's more of a Shelbyville idea.
Veganics.
Dope.
Wow, we really went deep here. You got to be fans of the Cool Nerd Weed Show to know what we just did. So that's our little shit talking session. We're gonna take a break. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think everything has been said.
What hasn't been said about And listen, if we sound like haters, if you know us and we sound like haters, if you know us and you were there during that time, you agree with us. I know that you do. It's okay if you don't anymore. We have to shed our anger. But TS has been ruminating on this. He really thought this out. And of course, I have too. We simultaneously sent it to each other. It was a very crazy time.
It's true. It's true. And if you want to prove us wrong, you know where to find us and give us that $1,000 ounce of Veganics, Mr. Cushman.
Yeah, give us a sample.
This is the Cool Nerd Weed Show Cannabis Challenge.
After we just talked
With
like a
TS
mega
and
amount of
Sasha.
shit on you.
Prove us wrong.
Yeah, we're waiting. We're waiting. Fucking look at us. Fucking waiting. Send us some weed. You know where we at. You know where we stay. Shit. Don't be scared. Oh man. What a good time. We're gonna take a quick break.